I think ability to create niche, will definitely give an edge to the MSMEs. So specialized services will be an area, where there is an opportunity to grow. We were talking about maybe cold chains just before we started our discussion. So I think that's an area where there is huge opportunity. India, as economy keeps growing, I think the dependence on cold chain is only going to increase. And there will be huge opportunity for storage in cold chains plus transportation also for MSMEs.
Well, welcome back to MSME Talk podcast for micro, small, medium enterprise businesses and startups.
This is episode number 61 of MSME Talk, MSME Vendor Opportunities with Large FMCG Companies Part 2. For better experience, I would suggest you to switch to 1.25x speed and also don't miss to subscribe at the rate MSME Talk on YouTube, Apple and Spotify. Welcome to MSME Talk podcast. Today we are diving into one of the most crucial aspects that drives every FMCG company and its supply chain. Today we are covering the second part of supply chain. So large FMCG companies operate through complex and well-coordinated network connecting manufacturing, logistics, sourcing and packaging. And within all this lies immense opportunities for India's MSMEs to participate and grow through value chain of large FMCG companies. To help us understand how FMCG companies can help and prepare MSMEs to increase their probability of encashing these opportunities today, we will cover specifically in the areas of logistic, warehouses, transportation and technology part of supply chain. We have with us Samrat Sehgal, Global Supply Chain Head of Dabur, India. Dabur is a leading FMCG company specializing in healthcare, personal care, home care, and food and beverages, and a household name for Indians. We have already covered contract manufacturing, raw material procurement, packaging in the previous episode. Once again, a very warm welcome to MSME Talk podcast, and thanks a lot for taking out time, Samrat.
Hi, Tripti. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to connect with the MSME society. Yeah.
Thank you. So, Samrat, as we have already covered on the contract manufacturing, raw material procurement, and packaging part of the opportunities where MSMEs can grow themselves along with the large FMCG players. Let's dive into the warehouses and logistics. So, to begin with that part, what is the best way? Basic. Let's start the first way. What is the best way for an MSME to approach an FMCG large player to explore opportunities related to warehouses and the logistic part?
Okay. So let us look at both actually. Warehousing and logistics. Essentially, it could be a combined service. It could be separate services also. Yeah. So, the way I look at it is that, first of all, for warehousing itself, if we talk about what is required is a warehouse which is having a good quality of construction. It should have a good geographic presence in the sense that it should be present in an area uh, geographically, manpower availability should be good, approach road should be good, right? So that's another important aspect. Then, of course, the compliance in terms of all compliances of the particular state and geography are very, very important. And apart from that, we should be having a warehouse which is compliant in terms of safety measures also, right? Fire safety and rest of the safety measures. Plus, harvesting of water should be something which should be inbuilt. It should be an energy efficient warehouse. These are the aspects which are important for anyone, right? Whether it is a MSME or it's a big organization which is, particularly only into warehousing. These are the things which are important for both, and it will apply for MSMEs also. We definitely are the one who are actually looking for all these aspects, and we will be not really be bothered whether it's an MSME or a big player, but these are the compliances and the requirements which need to be fulfilled. This is on the warehousing piece, Tripti. If I come to logistics, essentially, so I would say that MSMEs should focus more on maybe their presence in the region itself. So it could be regional specialization. Someone is strong in Bihar, someone is strong in UP, good at rural reach. So these are the problems which we face currently, and if someone comes up with a solve for these specific geographies, right, these are the kind of MSMEs which will be able to easily partner with organizations like us. So if when they come to us, they should of course be trying to just not sell probably their space. They should try to sell the capability which they have to. They should be able to sell the capability rather than just the space. That is the way I would put it.
I kept it on the move. So yes, this is absolutely the area where last mile situations and where smaller players in the regional can bring out the support for the large FMCG players in the way, and FMCG players can give the opportunities for their growth. But as you mentioned, it has to be supported by the uh, kind of entire ecosystem. Have a look at the ecosystem they are having it, and then bringing out together a thing to the players like yours to encash and see why they can provide warehouses and logistics services. Samrat, now let's understand the key capabilities that can give MSME warehouses suppliers an edge in getting selected by the large FMCG companies. So you have specifically mentioned couple of points already. Is there these are the key filters, or there's something else you would like to mention it that which can bring them edge?
So I would say warehousing is something pretty much I've already talked about, right? If I look at the logistics piece itself, the key things which can give them edge, if you're talking about, right, it could be tech adoption is one thing which will be very very important, which can give them edge, right? The right technology, which should, for me, for a FMCG company, what is required, right? Ability to deliver on time, ability to track, what's the status, where are we, how much distance covered, how much time to go, ability to maintain the hygiene. So I produce a product in my factory, I store it in my warehouse, maintain that hygiene. The same thing, the product, uh, the product which gets delivered to the end customer and consumer, right? uh, that's the first time that the product is seen by the customer, and if he gets the feeling of wow, then he's going to buy the product again. So the ability to maintain the quality and hygiene during the transportation or logistics will be important for us, right? So ability to adopt technology which can help them to deliver this is something which will give them a an edge, I think.
Absolutely. So, Samrat, let's understand some common mistakes which MSMEs might be making in warehousing and logistic, and by avoiding them they can increase the chances of winning the contracts again and for the more clients, and also the sustaining the long term relationship. So from your experience of last couple of decades, where are you seeing and the current scenario also, right, uh, these common mistakes are surfacing?
So I would say that the most common mistake which MSMEs or people make in such things, when they are providing such services, is to focus too much on cost and trying to reduce the cost. Right? That's the most common mistake. I think cost is definitely important, right? But what is more important is to be able to consistently, reliably deliver in a compliant way, right? So if you focus on this rather than cost, that will be a better thing, I think. So that's the first and the foremost mistake which people make. Then, of course, depending too much on manual operations and not focusing on tech adoption, which can actually impact the accuracy, the visibility, the accountability. Everything gets impacted if you are not able to adopt the technology, right? I'm not saying in the past when technology was not there, accuracy, visibility was not there, but it was low. Now things have changed. So tech adoption will improve accuracy, visibility, and accountability. And then if people focus on this piece, they'll be better off. And I think the third and equally important thing is first of all, to hire the skilled manpower, but more importantly, to be able to train them, right? So, whatsoever, how much so ever good manpower you hire, you need to basically upgrade their skills, and training is something which will be very, very important. So MSMEs, some of them make this mistake of not training their manpower, or I have seen people who actually spend time and energy on training people. They are way ahead of the curve. So I think I would say that every single time they are able to reliably deliver the product, that will beat the speed, right? So reliability will be very, very important. So I think if they do these things, they will be able to do it reliably.
So, fine, we'll move to the next question, Samrat. So, what role does these partnerships in this ecosystem of warehouses and logistics play? Like, MSME could be teaming up with some 3PLs kind of players and systems and opportunities. So, could you just give some guidance on that?
So, so very good question, Tripti. I think there are ways in which MSMEs can actually partner with the 3PLs. I think two things come directly to my mind. One is the technology piece itself, and I hope that we'll discuss it subsequently in our discussion also. But I think there are technologies which are required by the 3PLs also, and there are a lot of startups who can actually provide those technologies. So I would consider a startup also as an MSME, right? And on tech, definitely there can be collaboration where the requirements of 3PLs can be fulfilled by MSMEs. Apart from that, I would say that for 3PLs also this challenge is there, that the whole last mile connectivity, or for us, for FMCGs, it is the mid mile connectivity. So every case which we deliver, let me tell you, Tripti, from probably my warehouse in Patna to the interiors of Bihar, or same way from maybe Kanpur to interiors of UP. Each case which gets dispatched from my factory or in a truck, and from my warehouse also in a truck, subsequently it gets handled multiple times, because it's a multimodal transportation which we do, and there are different players who are involved in this, and this in a way is kind of not so much organized. I think there is an opportunity for the MSMEs to get into this area and provide this mid mile connectivity to us. And I think regional players can definitely do well if they have their strength in a particular region or a geography, or if they have a strength for rural deliveries. And probably technology adoption here can also help them, because I think visibility and ability to basically optimize the cost also, will require technology adoption. So I think MSMEs can get involved in this area, and they can help FMCGs like us, plus the 3PLs who may be working for some of us. I think collaboration is something which will here move faster than competition. So it will be on one side you'll have competition, but on the other side, if you have collaboration, you'll be able to deliver better.
Absolutely. Collaboration over competition. Very well said. And the right brain thinking concept, which I work when I executive coaches, yeah, coaching part. This is the area where we try to build into the ecosystem of the top down, focus on the collaboration than the competition. Uh, Samrat, in warehouses and logistics, there is scope of more specialized services, so that FMCG large FMCG companies might be looking forward for that, or they would be happy to give more opportunities in those specialized services. So what is your experience and observation in that?
So I think ability to create niche, will definitely give an edge to the MSMEs. So specialized services will be an area where there is an opportunity to grow. Uh, we were talking about maybe cold chains just before we started our discussion. So I think that's an area where there is huge opportunity. India, as the economy keeps growing, I think the dependence on cold chain is only going to increase. And there will be huge opportunity for storage in cold chains plus transportation also for MSMEs. Plus, I think one part which we partly touched in the previous questions also, is about the mid-mile distribution. So rural distribution and mid-mile distribution definitely is an area where there will be an opportunity for the MSMEs. Plus, I would say, the return logistics, picking up the goods which are not sold, unsold for us, and we want to bring it back to our warehouses and, probably then make sure that those are actually destroyed in a eco-friendly manner. This is another area where we are currently finding that there is need of help which we require, in terms of service providers who can come up to us and offer these services. So there is a huge opportunity in these areas, definitely.
Oh, very clearly mentioned, even water is collecting, and if it is need to be destroyed a certain way, there has to be a professional engagement service provider. And as you mentioned couple of times, compliance is very important. So taking care of compliances and providing the services, absolutely. So, Samrat, let's move to the another sub part of this is basically transportation, and transportation is very crucial because you are supplying globally, not only in India, but the products are going globally, right? By the way, Samrat, how many SKUs your company would be handling currently?
So, Tripti, we will have upwards of 1700, SKUs currently, which we service in India. And globally, there will be another more than 2200 SKUs which we are servicing in rest of the countries.
Say, so 2000 plus.
Let's take a quick break.
Hey, MSME Talk listeners, hope you have not missed subscribing to our newsletter for the latest news, blogs, podcast updates. Check the link in the description. We don't spam your inbox, and hence we do have one of the highest rate of newsletter opening in the industry.
SKUs being transferred and transported, right? So for that, you would be using a lot of transportation, various modes. Uh, so first of all, to begin with, which all modes of transportation currently being used?
So currently, it is of course road, which is bulk of the transportation. Then we also do rail transport, and of course for international, it is mix of rail, road, and sea. In India, we are experimenting even with the waterways, and that is something which definitely over the years going forward, as the
Ambitious
uh,
project of India also.
yeah, 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 absolutely. As the infra gets improved, I think there will be definitely an increase in the waterway transportation also. And we also are seeing that from road to rail also there is a movement which is happening. We are shifting as a percentage of our overall transportation. If we talk about maybe 5 years back, rail was a smaller percentage. Now it has definitely increased in size.
Oh, interesting. While on the other side, we are seeing even the road construction in India across highways and have improved a lot in last decade. But the same thing, yes, rail is very very important area to for the cargo perspective. And interesting to hear that you're seeing the real shift happening in the rail side also.
But
So
today, one challenge I would like to mention here is that there is no unified platform where we get information about our movement across these different modes, right?
hmm,
So the development of a unified portal or a unified platform which will be able to give visibility across all modes of transportation, that is something which will be very useful and helpful in
understood. So
improving
that
and
is
increasing
something,
the opportunity.
yeah, that is something, Samrad, you can share in that tech discussion now. We are going to cover it. We have already, figured out a pointer. So, Samrat, what are the top three or four criteria that large FMCG companies give the most importance to while selecting the transportation vendors?
So I think the first and the foremost is reliability, Tripti, here. Reliability is the most important one. Reliability in terms of ensuring timely pickup, reliability in ensuring timely delivery, and reliability in terms of safety of the consignment. These are the three things which are the most important for us. Of course, cost is important, but I think I would place these other three pointers ahead of cost, because ultimately, if these three are met, basically, I don't mind paying 1%, 2% extra also to the service provider who's able to provide reliability to us. And these are things which definitely are not happening just by saying, but there are a lot of efforts and things which the transporters have to do behind that. Simplest could be having their own fleet, having tech, well maintained fleet, and tech adoption, which helps them to monitor and ensure reliability. And tech adoption happens in different ways. One could be only the track and the traceability of the goods, or tracking of the goods rather. I for sorry for choosing the wrong word. It is tracking of the goods, but more important could be how they use technology, for example, just to ensure that they are doing the timely maintenance of their vehicles, or maybe looking at the life of the tires, and at what time they need to maintain, do the maintenance or change of the tires. And so tech adoption can be done in different ways, and it will be helping them in different ways actually.
Got it. Uh, so, Samrat, while you are mentioning couple of things, if we want to just summarize them, these points in such a way that these are they also highlight the common challenges. So you have mentioned what is something you look for as a criteria, but then the real experiences comes, the common challenges still faced by large FMCG companies while working with the transportation vendors. So what will be the top couple of common challenges?
So I think common challenge is the most common challenge is inconsistent service level, or lack of reliability. Yeah, that's the most common challenge which we face. And this could be because the fleet is not owned by the transporter, and he's relying on maybe market placement. That could be one reason why he may not be able to consistently or reliably place the vehicles or ensure timely delivery. The other could be tech adoption itself. Maintenance is not proper, breakdowns are happening, or visibility is not there. Even if there is a breakdown, if you are able to identify in a timely manner, you are able to provide service to the the truck driver at wherever there is a problem, right? And if tech adoption is not there, then you will not have visibility. It may take 6, 10, 12, 15 hours to basically come to know also that there is a breakdown, or something bad has happened. So I think these are some of the few things which we encounter. But I would also talk about one more thing, which is pilferage. FMCG goods are also costly goods, right? So pilferage is another problem which we face
Hmm.
sometimes.
Right.
And I think that is in a way reliability, right? But shortages because of pilferage is another problem which we find that it is a common challenge with the few of the transporters. But people who own their own fleet and have high tech adoption, there we have seen that all these problems are very less.
Right.
I think
Absolutely.
discipline on the road is as important as the delivery at the gate, I would
Hmm.
say.
Right. So from your conversation itself, we are, understanding that how critical the technology is becoming in the transportation also, like tracking through the GPS or other maybe other technology for the tracking. Uh, but what about the documentation, digitization, automation billing? A lot of transportation services are being technology driven, getting into that particular part. So is this also becoming very very critical for your ecosystem to seek from the players?
Right. So I think another very good question, and that only shows the deep knowledge which you have about this field, right? So I really am impressed with this. Uh, in my experience, Tripti, I think there are two ways in which I look at it, right? One is what is important for us, and the other is what is important for the vendor partner to be able to, sustain in a long run, right? So I think for us, tracking is very, very important, right? So GPS, for example, is very important for us. Now, automation of billing or tech adoption for billing, for example, right? This is not very important for me because we have put in our own system for billing, right? How we will accept the bills. But for the vendor, if he's able to do automation here, right, he'll be able to raise bills quicker, faster. If the vendor is able to adopt technology and they are able to get the proof of delivery, the POD, in a faster way through tech adoption, it will, what will it do? Basically, they will be able to give the proof of delivery to us faster. They will be able to raise bills faster. Their overall lead times for raising the bill, when it reduces, it will help them in managing their working capital. In the long run, it is going to help their business. Similarly, if tech adoption is done in maintenance of the trucks, right, in different ways and means, you can, ways and forms, you can do it. And if they are able to do it, it will help them to maintain their fleet in a better way. It will ultimately help them to increase the average kilometers run by every truck every month, right? And these are things, then ultimately it will help their business only. So there are few things of tech adoption, or maybe uh, different areas of tech adoption which will help me directly, and I will insist on it. But there is another aspect of tech adoption which will help them to run their business better and ensure that they become our reliable partner in the long run.
Okay, wonderful. So again, we can't avoid it, and it is helping both the growth. Technology is becoming part of the need for all kind of businesses, even if it's a transportation. Uh, Samrat, if we now understand little uh, a point where which may not, we don't know actually, is it really a priority for the large FMC players like yours and others? Is it early stage, or already expectation have been started building up? It is basically we want to talk about the sustainable practices and expectation from the transportation segment, so who are serving FMCG players, that are we expecting some kind of sustainable practices from them, or we are just warming up them that over the years coming ahead they have to start planning it? What kind of maybe it is fuel efficiency or any other adoptions, EV adoption, anything, something comes to your experience?
So, Tripti, before I answer your question, let me give you a small bit of information, right? That will turn around this question completely. So, the sun sends sunlight to the earth. The amount of energy which comes to earth in 2 minutes from the sun, right? Just the 2 minutes of energy is sufficient for the whole earth's energy requirement for the full year. Okay, so whatever energy we require all throughout the year, sun sends it to us in 2 minutes itself, right? So that's sustainability. Now, there is a cost attached to harness the energy of sun of 2 minutes, right? So there is a cost of technology, but eventually, I'm telling you, over a period of time, we will not need the energy of the suns, for more than two minutes only, because within 2 minutes it would have sent so much energy to us that if we are able to harness that and store it, it will fulfill our year's requirement. The question is at what stage we are today, right? So I think now I will answer your question. So, sustainable practices, these are not good to have. These are now need to act priorities for us. So it is tomorrow's license to operate, I would put it like that, right? But today there is a transition which is happening. So EVs, for example, we have tried with EVs and different models of EVs over the last 3 to 4 years. And there is a transition happening in terms of technology, load carrying capacity, battery life, all those things, right? So, so at this point of time, I do not have an urgency to tell all my operators to, switch to EVs, but we are moving in that direction. And I would say there is a huge potential for the MSMEs to come in this area and, start working with us. So huge opportunity sitting in this area. Going forward, 2 years down the line or 5 years down the line, when it happens, I'm not very sure. But technology is changing fast, and I think EV manufacturers are making machines now which will be able to have better battery life, better load carrying capacity. How soon they are able to meet our standards of today in terms of load carrying capacity is anybody's guess, but I think it is going to happen in next 4 to 5 years definitely. And whether it happens in 5 years or what will be the situation after 10 years, 10 years down the line, I'm very sure that, the world would have changed completely. Whether it happens in 5 or 6 years is anybody's guess.
Right, absolutely. We are in a very fast pace changing. We don't know even in 10 years we will still be, thinking high of EV or something else would come by then. So, but overall coming up, yes, what you're saying is it's not an urgency, but it's something transportation agencies or the players who are into it supplying to the large FMCG players, they have to start thinking on these lines to stay relevant and above the curve in the ecosystem. Uh, Samrat, in
Absolutely. And
your
you should be completely glued to what's happening in this area, right? So you should be so for example, we are in touch with some of the OEMs, and we keep monitoring what kind of technology they are coming up with, what are the changes which are happening. And over the last 3 4 years itself, a lot of changes have happened from all the OEMs who are into manufacturing of all the vehicles which we operate. And I have seen the change which is happening. And similarly, I think people who are interested in this area, they want to grow, they should completely look at what's happening in this field today, and what changes are happening in the way the technology is being developed to improve all the trucks and transport vehicles for tomorrow.
right, so this only leads to my next question to you, Samrat, which is basically if I ask you top areas which you will, if someone comes and asks you कि सम्राट किधर इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए इन if we are in the transportation business and we want to do something related to transportation businesses, which would be the area to invest and scale?
Let's take a quick break.
MSMEs and startups are looking for various kinds of support and upgrade. Are you a product service provider, expert, advisor, consultant, mentor for MSMEs and startups? Do reach out to MSME Talk to list your business. Check the link in the description.
So I would say that if I have to talk about potential, which is high, so I would divide my whole logistics piece, transportation piece into three parts, which is one is the primary transportation, bigger trucks from my factories to the warehouses, then from warehouses to the distributors, and then distributors take the material to the stockists. I would say the mid mile, is an area where there is huge opportunity. Why I say so? Because of course players are present today, but I would say we would need more professional players to participate in the mid mile. And we would, when I say professional players, it means who are able to increase the reliability in the mid mile, who are willing to put money behind technology to give better visibility, better compliance, and agility. So I think that's an area where I currently see that there is a gap, and there is an at the same time opportunity for MSMEs or for players to come into this area and maybe take charge and provide and improve the service.
Yes, wonderful. So, Samrat, let's move to the another part, which is very interesting, and you are also very keen to share your points. Is on the technology involvement and scope for technology in terms of the MSME players or startups to bring out new technology things for supply chain. Okay, so what is in your experience in throughout the various areas of supply chain we have discussed in this and the previous episode? You think technology, there's a lot of scope for the MSME players to come out? Which are what are the different areas?
Oh, huge potential is there for the MSMEs. I would say, organizations like us, right? So we definitely require technology in different areas, right? We want actually end-to-end operations to be completely wired through some or the other technology, right? Now, integrated technologies or big, solutions like an ERP, for example, these are provided by big companies. These are tools which cost a lot. There is a lot of commitment in terms of money and time which needs to be given, right? But at the same time, these have not been able to completely wire or you can say digitize all our processes. So in islands, there are processes which still need to be digitized. Now, that is where MSMEs can come in. The benefit which MSME will have, that the tech adoption will not require the kind of investment or commitment of investment which is required for a large software, right? So they can provide niche tools to us. We'll be able to, because the cost is low, and typically, such companies are very agile in providing the solution also. So commitment of time and money is smaller. We'll be able to test and try more solutions, and if we are successful, we adopt and then we scale up. If we are not successful, ultimately, since the commitment of time and money is not very high, so companies are willing to actually try it out, right? So I think the opportunity is huge. There is a need, and everyone understands the need of digitization of the all the processes, and there are islands which are yet to be explored. So I think there is huge potential for the MSMEs to get into this area and provide different technologies, whether it is a transport management system, whether it is
Okay.
in demand planning itself, whether it is in demand sensing, or maybe in terms of the latest technologies of AI, or different technologies which are still evolving.
Right. So, Samrat, this brings me to AI, right? Uh, has AI implementation started in your ecosystem?
So answer is yes, but I think there is a lot of expectation, and we are yet not there, right? As I see around me, there is a the talking is more than what we have seen on the ground, right?
Okay.
Everywhere.
Okay.
And I have been in touch with different companies and different systems or tools I have explored, and I have been talking to both sides, right? The businesses also and the service providers also. So I think in future, definitely uh, there will be an adoption, and there would be more adoption which is going to happen. But today, it is more exploratory. On the ground, the change is not so large.
Right. Okay. So there's a lot of scope because problem areas are there. Uh, for those problem areas, we are now seeking small players, right, who are working in the technology space. They can come out, they can partner with FMCG players, they can understand their problem, try to bring out the solution. And in that, FMCG large players would be more than happy to explore to bring solutions to that, vis-a-vis working with the large technology service provider where the entire process becomes very big, expensive, and very very large project in overall perspective, manpower involved, cost involved, investment involved. Vis-a-vis small players, you can just pick up one small problem and keep trying working on it, and more than happy to support them.
Absolutely.
Wonderful point you have mentioned, and opportunity you have highlighted, Samrat, in this area. And as you said, there are various pockets, whether it is related to transportation related, or it is a planning related, or it is a demand related. All the areas are having opportunities for small players to work on. Very nice. So, Samrat, thanks a lot. We have covered a lot in these two episodes and really appreciate your time from your busy schedule. Uh, we'll again meet some other time to understand more about, any other topic from your area of expertise. And we wish you a lot of reliability and professional suppliers and MSME players support to your company and the ecosystem.
Thank you very much, Tripti. I think I would like to mention here that while I thought that I will be here to maybe give a few pointers and maybe share my knowledge with all the listeners, but I would say definitely that a lot of your questions themselves were so smart that it made me think, and probably there was something to learn from your questions also. So thank you very much, and yeah, it's a pleasure to get this opportunity actually to speak.
Thank you.
And if I'm able to add any value to anyone, it will give me a lot of pleasure if I'm able to add any value to anyone.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dear listeners, since last 3 years, you have been listening to MSME Talk audio podcast on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, etc. Now it is available in video format on YouTube as well. Also, I would like to tell that more information and updates are not covered on podcast, for which you have to ensure that you subscribe our newsletter and follow us on social media. Links are given in description.
Happy to share MSME Talk podcast enters peak ranking chart of 10th country in the Apple Podcast country level entrepreneurship category. If you are an expert or provide product or services to small businesses, MSMEs and startups, reach out to us to discuss showcase opportunity in MSME Talk. Contact details given in description.